experience and difficulties in your research, and then we can work together. We can have some like advices or solutions for each of you, and then other people, other students can learn from your own problem. So it's not like in bachelor program, we only like listen to lectures, but here I hope we can have a discussing course. And if some of like may some of you know me already in course in bachelor course at UITH, but some of you may not. So I want to okay, let me share my screen. And remember that whenever you have questions, so feel free to ask me during the course. And I hope it's not like I will talk myself from the beginning at the to the end, but you also can like enjoy the discussion and bring your ideas. And here is like a very brief information about myself. So basically, I do research in energy economics and policy and sustainable development as well. So my area, working area in Vietnam and in some other countries in Asia and Europe. So I mostly I develop some like some both applied research and original research, but it's not okay. It's not like I have to go to the lab do some experiment. So may like I may have less experience at the lab as you do, but I expect the research method will have some very common principles that we can share to each other, and we can have to improve the research from each of you. So now we can go to the course. Let, let me share the slides. Now I hope you all see the slides.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. And course on research methods in science and technology studies. Of course, for research methods, we do not only have one method, we can have a lot, and we cannot cover everything in this course. Very short one, only 20 hours, divided by 2 lecturers. And but we have to know like, okay, how many like a very most popular or most necessary research method in science and technology study. Of course, for science and technology studies, we have different research methods that are like from other field of studies. And because we are now working on science and technology master course, so that's why we have to focus on what we have to do in next few months. I expect that you will have like internship or research method for your master very soon. So in this course, we will have lectures. Of course, we have some like lectures with very basic information and basic knowledge. But the second part, you can see here, the discussion is really important because to, when we design courses for students, it's not always we can bring own parts we want to share because it's not easy. It's not easy because there are many. And when we have many, so it's not easy to select, of course. And then your own discussion and your own part, your own difficulties will bring us motivation. Will bring us more like more interest to provide more and to help you overcome your current challenges, because some of you now may have some current research with companies and with your professors. Homework, we have some like not really like you have to work at home every day for this course, but you will bring some like some topics or some part to discuss at home with your classmates or your friends from other classes as well. And then later on you will bring it to the lecture, and then you will present your opinions or ideas about the topic you select. Mid evaluation, for this one you have also like to submit some like works regarding to your research, and back to the part 2. When we have discussion, I expect you will bring your own research. Why? Because as I said, later on, you will have to do your own research for your intensive or for the final thesis defense. So I want you to work on it now on this course. So we make use of our time to help you, each of you, do your own research. So I do not want to give you some topics, some ideas, and then you have to work with those ideas. And then after this course, you finish it, you forget it. No, you will have to work during this course, your own research. And for your own research, you have to apply what we discussed in during the lecture. And after that, after this course, I expect you will have like a very very first draft of your research, and then I hope it will help you quicker catch up with professors or with like your work later on after this course, when you have to start the internship, the final report. So very first draft of your research will be the final report you have to submit for the final evaluation for this course. Yeah. So by that way, I expect you will have something like useful for your further work. It's not like you finish papers or tests in this course and then you close everything and then that's finished. No, I don't want that way. So for that approach, do you have any idea, like your comments or ideas? No, okay. So just to agree at the beginning, whenever I have questions, of course I expect you will answer. But in the case of like, okay, I ask quite general questions. It's not very specific. Like, okay, can you do you have any ideas? I do not point at any specific students. So you may like you may not answer it because it's not, you cannot provide any information. So I will wait for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, no answer. That means I can understand there is no answer. Like, okay, you do not have any idea. So, and as requirement from the department, knowledge, new information, and then it's really important. It should be fact. And because why we do not like say the first one is information and knowledge, but because information or knowledge may be not the fact. So very important for any kind of research that is fact. It should be the truth. And we have also like to verify or test important facts.
Excuse me, are you sharing the slide?
What do you mean?
I mean, are you sharing your screen? Because I can't see any the slide.
Ah, okay. I think I share already. Now you can see.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry for that. I expect I share that this screen already. So we verify or test important facts. Of course, when we discover facts, new facts, not all of them are important, but we have to, because for your research, maybe you will find some like after one implement, so you can find some like some facts and some reasons, but you have to verify it, how to test it, and you have to select the most important one to 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 do deeper research or to focus on, because of course with any research project we have limited time, human resource, and money. So that's why we cannot cover everything in that research, every results. So important to select the most important one, or like some important fact to move on with that. And sometimes we do not like try to find the new facts, but we want to analyze some existing one. You want to, there are some facts already, there are some a known knowledge already, but you want to know more about that. You want to make some, you want to analyze new aspects up that knowledge. So this for your own reading at home. And so I think the most important thing here is whenever you do research, not only for your own duty, your own motivation, as like you have your own problem, you have to pick some topic, and then you have to work, or you choose some one topic to do research because you see like it's really interesting, it can bring you a lot of motivation. But remember that it's not only that aspect. Even like whenever you have motivation to do research, so it's good already, but it should bring interest or and benefits to others. For example, if you do research in your group, so you have to make sure that your research, your own findings have to contribute to the whole research from your group. Is very important. And sometimes you have less motivation than like the topic you freely choose, but to adapt with others and to be like able to contribute to the whole research of the group. So you have to find out at the beginning, okay, if our findings, if our research can contribute to others, to the whole group, or to the society, or not. Otherwise, after doing research, you have to put it in your like own desk. You cannot use anywhere else. So it's not really good if we have that approach. And now we should go directly to this one. I think is really interesting. Maybe, yeah. So classes of study object. So the first one, the most general, so research field. And then we narrow down to subject, and then topic, and then research problem. Here in this part, I want to listen to your ideas or experiments. Like, okay, how you choose your research problem. Do you like go the same direction like this? You from research field, very general one, you go down to subject and then topic and then later on research problem. Any of you?
Yes. We mostly go into this part like from research field and then reach to the research problem.
Can you give more like more details, like example?
Okay, in my opinion, I'm in the space department, so my research field is space. For the subject, I think it's about space technology, and when you sub down to the topic, I will select the space mechanics or something. But then the research problem is depends on the professor, which will give it to us.
So okay, let's see from research field. Can you confirm it again?
My space technology.
Yes. And then the research problem.
I haven't defined it myself yet.
Okay, so you do not have any research yourself?
I mean,
Even
not for not for the thesis.
okay, but even for like previously, do you have any? Have you had some research already, or?
Yes.
So can you like can any of you can bring some experiments on like choosing the research topic and research problem? So just sharing your experience, like okay, how you start a research. Can you like distinguish topic, research problem?
I think that before I start the research, I usually circle it from the field that I want to do. Then I move into the subject. So, for
Yeah.
example, I had a topic I did on the Master 1 about bioinformatics.
Yes.
So, my actual topic was related to a certain database of a chemical substance. So I think that is where I started research.
Yes. But can you give like a name of your research?
Can you ask again?
Like, can you give example? Like, okay, I know that you go through those steps, but could you like give names, like names of research view, subject, topic, and research problem, like specifically? It's not in general.
So if I consider my research, my past research as an example, I think the research field is can be biochemistry. The
Yes.
subject is bioinformatics. The topic is chemical database, and
Yes.
the research problem is I do some work with the chemical substance in like virtually. They call it the virtual screening.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I think that is like one good example. So yeah, so here in this slide, we just want to emphasize, okay, for any research before starting, you have to clarify very like carefully the research field, subject, topic, and research field, because sometimes people mix between like a topic and research problem, and even like a research field and subject. So why we have to classify them very carefully? Because by doing that, you understand your research problem, and then you can write introduction, and then even you can search for literature, existing literature, with a good and fast approach. And whenever people see your introduction of your research, they understand quickly, okay, where you are and what you want to do in which area. So for that, like remember to later on you have to work with this approach when we do like a mid evaluation. So do you have any questions on this slide?
I want to ask, I have a question.
Yes.
Actually, for the master intensive, usually I choose one mentor, and they give us the topic and research problem.
Yes.
For my case, so I'm wonder that how I can how I can how I can
No subject and research field.
yeah, yes, and
Okay.
and yes, and can you give me some example about what is the topic and what is the research problem? Because I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about. Um, can you give me an example for this?
So do you have any like a topic or research problem that you said you received from professors?
I'm not sure because he give me an okay, like I'm not sure, but maybe my topic is about the proton couple electron transfer between two molecule junction, and my research problem is that I want to study about this in the different pH environment. It's just what I think, but I'm not sure it's true.
Okay, so remember that research problem. Focus on that one first. Okay, research problem. That means there's problem in that sentence. For research topic, okay, you can see the content, like the maybe the title of your research, like describe what ideas your research will talk about. But research problems, that means there are one or more than one problem you have to deal with. That should be like some challenges, something like you have to overcome by doing research. So I can take one example. When we talk about like, okay, we will do study in like solar energy. That is like, okay, one topic. And topic here is solar energy for buildings. So do you see any problem? Do you see any problem in this phrase? So energy, solar energy for buildings, like for households. No, we do not see any problem here. That is topic, but research problem. Now we talk about it. Okay, how to answer like the balance from like balance between electricity from solar and from the grid in household. That is problem because there are some technical problem inside, and then we have to deal with it by do simulation or calculation, and then we deal with like how to balance the electricity from the grid and from your own solar system. But the topic is okay, apply or using solar electricity in household. So you got the idea?
I think it is better. Yes.
And how about others? Do you think that is clear?
Yeah, it's okay for me.
Okay, so we can move on. So in this course, and then specifically for science and technology research, we have three types of research. The first one is basic or theoretical research. The second one is applied research. And the third one is practical research. So most of your research will be in one of three groups here. And you can see why we can see the intersection between like three types of research, because sometimes you can see both aspects like basic and applied research, or even like three of them. So sometimes it's not easy to separate completely. Okay, that is applied research, or that is only basic or theoretical research, because in each research itself have something like, okay, a part of them belongs to basic research and most of them belongs to applied research or vice versa. So, but we have to know, okay, what is basic research, what is applied research, and what is practical research, to find out like, okay, our research or research from others talk in which area, and why we have to know about that, because each type of research will have their own method, their own approach when we do it. If we know, okay, exact type of research, so we will use proper resource to deal with it. So let's go to the detail. Basic research. The most important of the basic research project is like gaining knowledge, inventing knowledge, or like, okay, you have to discovering new knowledge. That is the most important thing when we talk about the basic research. The second one is like it can advance understanding about the social world, or about the nature, about our society. That is like we have to advance understanding. We have people understanding more about our world, and sometimes it can help, like it can support or reject some existing hypotheses or theories. And we see in the past many like very famous hypotheses or theories, after some time it will be like it can get more support, or even it is rejected by other new theories. It's normal, because nowadays we know, okay, we believe in something, but after some time, because of the advance technological advance, we can prove, okay, that is not true. We have to go other way around. So the mission of basic research is that. I see like we have less than 1 minute for this account, like for this session. Do you see the same message?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so when it stops, so now we have to log in again. Yeah. So if you do not talk, so please mute your microphone, so it's will be more convenient for others. So now we stop from here and now we continue. So that is like the three main parts for about like basic research, and then we go to applied research. So for applied research, it's different from like gaining new knowledge or facts from basic research, but applied research aim at solving specific problems. We have to define like for maybe for basic research, hypothesis is the most important thing. But for applied research, you have to define a specific problem first to see how we can deal or how we can solve this specific problem. Or even not only for science, like natural science, but also like a social science. Like we can create or we can work with policy economic programs that we have to improve our social life or have to improve the quality of life. And we can have like the type of applied research can be like action research or social impact studies or like cost benefit analysis. So it really depends on like what field, research field we investigate more. But remember, for applied research, define specific problem. That is the most important part when you want to get into it. Practical. Or action research. So it's so for this type of research, you can see it's really close to applied research, but there are some differences. And for practical research, it's not we are not dealing with like new, because for applied research sometimes we have to discover or we have to invent new technology, new tool to deal with specific problem. But for practical research, mostly they will apply existing tool or existing knowledge to deal with a new problem. So still like they have to deal with problem, but they try to use existing tools to deal with problems. They are not like aimed at finding new knowledge, new tools to deal with problems. And you, I don't know, like any of you have worked before studying master, but let's see, for basic and applied research versus research and development. So basic and applied research are more implemented in universities or in research institutes. But for R&D, basically, they will be implemented by companies. So the first thing you can see the funding sources for basic and applied research are from like mostly from public money or research foundation, universities, ministries. But for R&D, the funding source can be like a private sector, like industry, or maybe like for some important research, R&D research, we can see the collaborations between company and universities. So in that case, we can see like the source of money can come from different partners. And remember that if you are working or studying in science and technology, later on you can continue your research career either in universities, research institutes, or R&D department in the industrial sector. And another thing we see, like for basic and applied research, the final purpose is like they want researchers want to prevent or want to gain new knowledge or bring scientific values to the society. That is the most important finding or purpose of applied or basic research. But for R&D, like activities, the final purpose is like they want to bring economic values, economic benefit to the company, to the industry, or to the whole economy. So there are different purposes for each type of research. And another like a comparison we have to know is descriptive and analytical research. And two types of the research is for even for like basic, applied, or practical research. The way we implement research. So for descriptive research, we can see like we have surveys, we have increase of cost in different kinds like approaches. Like okay, we can do get internet or face to face, and we have to connect data, connect evidence. And from surveys findings, from evidence, we win like, okay, find out the cause and effect of one or more than one relationships between objects, like a research object. Or we can find out like if our data, if our information we collect can bring us some meaningful information. And of course, before that, we have to define, okay, before doing surveys or do interviews, we have to know what purpose for those surveys and interviews. And then after receiving all answers, all information we need, so we will like doing, you maybe you know already, like data mining. So you have to investigate time and use proper tool to explore the data you get it. And for analytical research, we use like information or facts available already, and then make some analysis and find out like, okay, what we can get from existing literature or information. Of course, here we talk quite in general speaking, but later on, for each research or even from your own research, we will go back and we will have more discussion on that. So here I just want to bring you some very first impression of types of research. So do you have any questions? And here we see the research process. Of course, for each type of research, each level of research, we have different process. But here we talk about like a very basic research process that we should follow when we start any research. So take some minutes to read this one, and then we will go back for further discussion, even from your own research. So please think about your own research and try to find out if you have done something similar like this or never you follow those steps. Okay, so now we start to discuss this process. So the first step, the purpose, before doing something, even like anything, you have to determine, okay, what is purpose of doing that? So when you want to start a research, you have to say, okay, why we have to do this research? And when you define the purpose of research, like, okay, we have to do this research because we want to find out the relationship between object A and object B, for example. So that is like the purpose. And at the end of your research, you have to achieve that purpose. You have to gain that purpose. Otherwise, it's not successful. And the second step, research questions. Why we have to have research questions? Because without any research questions, how you can drive your research in the right direction? Because on research process, you have to spend time, human research, and money to answer research questions. So next step, we have to define assumptions. Of course, we cannot have in there like, okay, perfect conditions. So we have, for some, if we have lack of data, we have like many conditions. In that we can do research. So we have to narrow down and we have to provide some assumptions. Under that context, we have to do our research, or we base on those assumptions to start your research. Sampling methods, this one really depends. If you do like basic research or applied research or practical research, you will have different sampling method. Sampling method, that means when you want to do like research about a plant, so you cannot like collect sample from all over the world. You have to narrow, okay, for that plant, I will take it specifically from like in one forest or in one garden, or with very specific weather condition. So that is like how we build sample to research. That means sampling method. Or if we want to investigate like how we can apply AI technology in one sector, so how we can collect data, demand from or problems from that sector in one specific city, and how to choose the samples. That is like we have to apply sampling method, and then we have to connect data. So in after like define, after having sampling method or sample to investigate, we have to build also data connection, because we data cannot like automatically run to your laptop. You have to search for it, you have to collect it, and how to collect it efficiently, you have to also like build or develop data connection method. And then after that, okay, you have data, you have research questions. You have to define the research method, how to deal with the data we have, how to deal with like how to analyze the data we have. And next step, quality criteria. We have to define, or we have to set standard for your findings. and data. Data is good or not, and the finding is good or not. And then when you do analysis, you have to compare, or you have to use quality criteria to remove the results are not good enough. So at the end, after step 8, you only get the good findings, good results for the final report. And then, of course, for each step, you see, it's already like a fewer study. For example, even for writing a report. So how to write a scientific report? In what form? In a communication letter, or in a form of research paper, or in form of like a working paper, or in form of short report, or even just a thesis. So they have different format, different approach. We have to know what we want to deliver at the end of your research. So now, back to your own research. Have you done something similar? Not all steps you see here, but some steps you see here, and then you realize, okay, I have done something similar, or I followed those steps already in some previous project. Any of you can share your experiments.
I think I have follow the similar thing.
Yes, so could you share your project? Like what you do? Yeah. Follow steps here. Maybe you can jump from step 1 to step 3 to step 6, but just like, okay, briefly present your workflow when you did your project. Any of you?
Actually, I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yes, yes.
I want to ask for the 7th step. I mean, how we can know? How do we know that our data is good enough? I mean, because you say that we not the 6th step. I want to ask that how do we know that our data is good or not?
You mean you asked in general, or you asked specifically for step 7?
I'm not sure. Because you say that we qualify our data.
Yes.
So I just wonder how we can qualify it. I mean,
Oh, okay. So it depends on what field you are working on. So for each type of data or each type of research, we will have a very standard criteria. And then the mission of a researcher here is like you have to find out the criteria for your research field, research topic. For example, if we connect data and we see some outliers, That means though some points we collect data is not really get on with other data sets. Just for an example, and often we can have like a even function or quantitative criteria to access data set or information. But quality criteria not only applied for data, but also applied for results. Because often we use quality criteria to evaluate our findings, but we do not realize, okay, we are applying quality criteria. For example, when you do data analysis, of course, at the end of the day, you will have some findings. But how do you know your findings are good or not? Have you done any research project? Any of you?
I'm not sure, but when I get some result, I think that I will read another paper about the same topic to compare my result to the other. But I don't know if I can find the paper, then I don't know how to compare to.
I think we can use another research method to compare with our results.
That is also like a good approach.
Yes.
Because
so
what we do, yeah, basically
in my major, kind of like I have several kind of data. So when I use one method, I will use data A. Then to compare the result, I will use data B to estimate that the result from data A is high accuracy or not.
yes. So often we have to use criteria to evaluate our findings, because whenever you have some findings, you have to prove with others, okay, my findings are good enough. And how you can confirm that? Because you apply quality criteria, and as I said, sometimes we do not know that. Even we use that for our research, but we do not realize, okay, we are using quality criteria. And for this purpose, we also like have to find good quality criteria. Even for selecting criteria, we have to also like apply another quality criteria already, because we have many like standards to evaluate our findings, how to choose the best one for our own research. So that's why like when we do research, especially in the step 6 research method, you have to include also like a literature review is also important for your research. And that's why if we can go back to this one, you see here why we have to know like a research field, subject, topic. Because if you are dealing with research problem, but you do not you are not aware of like a topic or subject of your research, so you cannot select the most relevant quality criteria or research method to deal with. Because if you spend a lot of time to do literature review in only like a research field. Of course, it's too general and it's not really close to what you are dealing with, like a research problem. And then you do not investigate time on like the relevant or close topics as the topic you are working on. So that's why we have to clarify ourselves about fewer subject, topic, and problem. So if you clear yourself about that, so you can have very direct and straightforward approach. So do you have any other questions, or do you think sometimes you just follow steps here but without like right order, or you miss some steps? And an advice here is sometimes we see like, okay, we know our research, so we ignore some steps and we say, oh, it's easy. We do not need to make it separate part. But remember that whenever we talk about the principle, that means it's very basic one. And sometimes it takes more time if we follow own step, but it will make your research complete and understandable, and make sure that you have a good approach from the beginning to the end. So any questions?
I don't understand why the assumption is step 3.
Assumptions.
It's not. Yes.
Okay, so here we will see why assumption placed before the sampling method, because when you do sampling method, you had already defined like which object you want to do research, and that is based on like assumption we made in the previous step. For example, you want to do like again research on one type of plant, and then you have to have assumption. Okay, I have to assume that like they will live in which forest, under which condition, and in that condition in summertime, for example, I will find out like okay, characteristic of that plant during the summertime in one specific region or province in one specific country. So we have to have assumptions about our research. And of course here, for each step, we only see the title, and inside the title, there are many like methods and many points. For example, here in research questions, of course, in this one, not only research questions, but also we have a hypothesis. And remember that hypothesis is really important point we have to define even at the beginning. And later on, we will work on that very carefully. And for information, for your research, you have to define research questions and hypotheses always, even for applied research, that never before you think about it. So for now, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, so unfortunately, we are finishing the course for today, and we we lose a lot of time today for admin activity. So I hope next time we have less problem than today when the department can deal with this like a free account in Zoom. But I hope they can provide it an account with like a professional payment, something like that. Okay. So if you do not have any other questions, we can stop here, and feel free to send me email for any questions that you have. So thank you very much for your listening, and have a nice weekend. See you next week.
Okay.
See you next week.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.